Thank you for joining me. I'm Mike Miller. I have responsibility at Caterpillar for learning across our dealer network. 177 dealers around the world, approximately 254,000 active users a month coming in and grabbing content and using it to get to where they need to go. Some time ago, we started what we call our digital learning journey. And today I'm going to walk you through that and how we're tying that to business results for Caterpillar. So there's a belief at Caterpillar that our most valuable asset is not the actual products we produce, but it's actually our people. When you think about working with Caterpillar, we want you to think about it as an experience. It's truly the experience that brings the customer back, and what makes the biggest impression is how we interact with you. And what we want to do is make sure that we're investing all we can in the individuals so that they have a career and that they derive that customer experience that we want so much for each and every customer. One thing we do know about our learners is that their expectations have changed. And this slide that's up now currently doesn't depict anything I'm sure most of you haven't already seen or heard through multiple conferences. What this slide means to us, though, at Caterpillar is 3 content changes that are underway right now. When you look at how we deploy learning today, or traditionally, it was through instructor-led learning and or traditional e-learning approach. And it was very tailored programs for very specific Caterpillar needs. What you see us evolving to going forward is more about meeting the learner where they are. So we're shifting away from e-learning to ILT, and we're really focusing on that 70% of the 70-20-10 models. How do we get you what you need on the job at the time that you need it? Doesn't mean the others will go away, but we'll de-emphasize those. So taking the spend that we had had on that 10% of formal learning and really taking that spend and putting it on the 70% side. With that, though, comes some new challenges, and how to take that approach and hand it out to the masses requires a lot of effort, and we're going to walk through a little bit of how that's done. The one other expectation we want to make sure, and the framework that we put in place, has to align to what we understand as the learner's needs. When you look at the top priorities, and this is not our slide, this is data that we've gathered from the industry, you'll look at the 3 things at the top: personalization, collaborative, and micro-learning. Caterpillar is really focused in on these to the nth degree. We are focused on the bottom 3 as well, but I will tell you, getting that adaptive or personalized learning has been talked about for so long. But thanks to technology and the advancements that have come over the past 5 years, doing that is getting much easier. We're able to use artificial intelligence and or use predictive techniques to start giving individuals what they need. Our ability to assess an individual and really give them a meaningful path and show how that path drives to a career is getting much easier. And we're going to show you how we've unlocked that. So expectations of the learners have changed. Here's what the industry is telling us the learners want. We've validated that for our Caterpillar family across those 254,000 active users and found that this is a legitimate direction. So what does that mean? For Caterpillar, that means that we really have to morph, and this is that learning journey, where we were to where we want to go. And on the left side of the screen, you're seeing what a traditional learning organization used to look like. And on the right side, you're seeing where we're headed, the different techniques and approaches that we're looking to unlock. So less focused about being content development, more focused on delivering strategic experiences. And when you look at this, when you think about learning delivery now goes over to experience management. And people have a hard time with that until you sit down and say, well, think about it. When you go to hire somebody for a job, you're not hiring what they learned. You're hiring how they've applied that learning and through those experiences. So when I look at a resume, I see that you have a 4-year degree. My guess is I really don't care which college or university you've got it from. You've got the degree. That's a check mark. What have you done since you've gotten that degree? Have you really enabled or empowered, or have you really gone out and done any experience that I can use within the company? Those are the decisions I'm making. But for a learning organization, it shouldn't be about just pushing content. It should be about creating that experience. So how do you take an individual and how do you give them an experience where they will learn and they can get credit for that experience and go on to build a bigger, better career? That's where this sets in. In 2013, we set out and tied our learning strategy all the way back up to our executives. So that's another critical component if you're going to be successful. From the top down, we have support. And so our executive office, their seed, grow, harvest strategy is directly tied to what we call as our learning organizational maturity model. This slide illustrates that, and what I'm known within the walls of Caterpillar is critical success factor number 4, or prepare people for tomorrow. This is one of our strategic imperatives, and it is a must. So there's commitment from the top, there's commitment from the bottom, we meet in the middle. Taking that a step further, these are the 4 levels of our strategy, and they're pretty straightforward. When you look at level 1 is really about, yep, I do training, and I do it because it's a compliance need, or I do it because I have a brand new product and they need the information, but that's really what it is. That's really not driving to that strategic long-term career that we want every learner to have. But at Caterpillar, we've also unlocked another key. We can't just go out and say we want all of you to learn and here are all the tools and hope that you'll learn and build careers. We have to approach it from the top down as well. And so what happens is we go out and work with our dealers and we work with our business units. And we sit down and ask ourselves, okay, 2020, where do you want to be? And if you want to hit X sales and say connected technologies by 2020, then what do you need to do to get there? And most companies do great at planning the facilities, buying the products, and making sure they set out that long-term strategic plan for how they're going to turn all this stuff on. But what they forget to do is they forget to talk about the people. If you're really going to sell X number of assets by 2020, you probably need, say, 15 experts by 2018. Otherwise, you're never going to achieve those sales. Well, what else do you need to be able to do then? Well, you need to be able to determine, well, how many experts do I have today? And if you only have 5 and you need 18, what are you going to do that? Now, here's the key. Here's where, at Caterpillar, we're having some huge success. If all of a sudden I go, by 2018, I need 12 experts, I need to develop 12 more, and I post those, and I let the entire enterprise say, ooh, look, I need 12 of these job roles. Anyone interested? And I let the employees self-evaluate themselves against those job roles. What they get back is, hey, here's where you are today. I'm going to assess myself against that job role. It gives me an individualized learning plan. Some people will see, ooh, I only need 3 or 4 things and I really qualify for that job. Others will see, oh, I got a lot of work to do if I really want that job. But what you're allowing them to do is see career opportunities that align to where you want to go as a company. This has been a game changer for us because now all of a sudden, it's not just learning for the sake of learning. It's learning because you know there's an experience that you can drive right to and then drive results for the company. So you're learning that's going to give you an experience, and that's going to drive results for the company. It's a win-win. So how do we do that? I will tell you, process is key. But the other thing that I have to give great credit to is some of the great partners that we've had out in the industry. And one of them is Open Sesame. We went to them because we knew at Caterpillar there was a lot of framework we needed to deploy. And we didn't want to do that by building it all by ourselves. What we wanted to do is search the industry and find best in class. And so we looked to partner with Open Sesame in a way that most companies wouldn't. Most companies go to Open Sesame to buy and consume just content. We looked at them and said, you're selling content. You're repackaging the content of others and putting it out there for people to consume. Caterpillar had that same need. We didn't just need soft skills, safety, that type of training that you would normally get from them. We needed a marketplace. Why would we need that? Because we wanted to empower our learners, our dealers, and everyone at Caterpillar to contribute. And we wanted them to put content in as well. But we needed a way to put all that content together into a marketplace that could be consumed back out. Now, don't get me wrong, we still use Open Sesame's content itself because it's great content and that supplements our programs, but they also act as a backbone for us, and it's a portal for us to take that content and hand it out to the right individuals at the right time. And we can get into that in more detail, but long story short, when we sat down to think about how we were going to approach learning in the future, we started by asking ourselves, how do you learn in your personal lives? We truly want you to learn the way you learn at home. And so this slide, and it's my last slide, illustrates kind of the ecosystem approach. When you think about experience, when you think about wanting to take a learner from point A to point B, it's not how you want them to get there. It's enabling them to get there on their own through the means that they want to take. And I always ask this analogy of people in the audience. When you're sitting at home on the couch, do you turn to your significant other and do you say, hey, do you think the learning management system has an answer to this question? Probably not. I've never had anyone raise their hand and say, yep, we're going to jump onto that learning management system. Typically what they do is they grab their smartphone, their laptop, whatever, and they jump into a search engine, may it be Google, Bing, whatever they use, and they look for it. Or, oh my gosh, I need to fix my sink, they jump into YouTube. At Caterpillar, we're moving away from one tool to try to solve all. We're moving to multiple tools, an ecosystem approach, so we can very much mimic your personal life. We want to give you experiences, and those experiences over time will drive you to the right outcomes. And we're mapping all of that. So this presentation is really about tie your learning to strategic results, where you want to go, give the learners the capability to get there, enable them with as many tools that mimic their personal lives, and you will find that the adoption will be phenomenal. Thank you. Appreciate the time today.